Hi parents, my name is Nancy Sullivan and welcome to my math classes. First, a little bit about me. Going way back, I have a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics from Washington State University, go Cougs, several, almost now decades ago. I also got my Master's in Education through Lesley University, and I also completed National Board Certification back in 2009, and I've also renewed it since then. So I've been having that several years under my belt. I've been at ICS for a crazy long time, 1999. This is my 21st year, which actually astonishes myself too, but not really that much because I enjoy teaching and I enjoy ICS, so that's why I've stuck around. I was either gone on full-time childcare leave or part-time childcare leave for several years in the middle of that time. So I have two daughters who are currently now in sixth and eighth grade. So when they were very little and born, I took some time off, but otherwise I've been at ICS that entire time. Also a little more kind of factoid about me. I lived in Germany for 6 years after we first got married in the 90s. My husband's a German native, so that was exciting to live overseas. I really enjoyed doing that. And yes, I do speak German. Not without an accent, probably a strong accent, but I can speak it fairly fluently. And my husband's also a teacher. He teaches music in Monroe School District. So general contact information, the phone number they asked for us to put on there, but honestly, that's probably the worst way to contact me. Email is definitely the best way. And I usually get back to parents definitely within 24 hours, the work day, and maybe on the weekends I'm not able to, but even then I check email frequently and I usually get back to people right away. So please do reach out that way to contact me. A lot more course information is especially in the syllabus that I talked over with students, and hopefully that you have also seen or they've shared that with you. And lots of information is in the content library that you have the link for, and it's in the information for parents, and the syllabus really gives a good overview of what the classes have, the topics of the classes, and how class will be like. I also welcome you to watch. I have a couple other videos that I created for students before school began. You might have seen those. They're actually very similar to this format where I just gave an overview of the school year for students way before school started, so they had an idea what was coming. And you're welcome to look at those as well, but I believe you have to have like your student login to watch it over their shoulder. And this is just a list of the courses I'm teaching this year: Honors Geometry, Honors Math Analysis, AP Calculus AB, and I'm also the advisor for the National Honor Society. So a little bit more about Honors Geometry. I kind of renamed what you're saying highlights of the course to Course in a Nutshell. When parents or students ask me about what geometry is all about, I often start by what it's not about, or what it's not only about. A lot of times people think that geometry is just going to be about some definitions and shapes and different figures, and you find angle measurements, you find volume, you find area. And I'm like, well, yes, that is part of it, but honestly, a lot of that content, the content, is taught even in earlier classes. So it's not so much the content, but why that's all true and how it's presented. And that's really the main focus of the course, is deductive reasoning. So which we do then through proofs. Deductive reasoning is very important for students' further education in mathematics, but also in their other courses, because the idea to take a set body of knowledge and to structure in a way that is logical and makes sense and flows nicely, that type of training, that type of brain training, which deductive reasoning is doing, and the work through our extensive work and proofs that we do, especially first semester, that's really the purpose of the class. The idea is that all of those theorems and postulates and definitions about shapes and parallelograms and other quadrilaterals, that's the structure which we teach students the deductive reasoning. So, but of course we have also that information. So they learn why. For example, on the first day of school, I was telling students this exact story, and I gave a problem and I was talking about how to solve this. Most of you know that the angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. And then I was explaining that, and one student asked, yeah, I know it is, but why is that? And I was like, well, that's exactly what we're going to do this year, is like, why does the angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees? That's what this class is important for, and to do that type of brain training. Real briefly, it's a flipped classroom. So flipped classroom means I'm going to be posting all of the lessons where students can work on asynchronously, and then in class will be time for check-ins. We'll be having group work pretty soon once we figure out how to do that the best way, and then also some target instruction of harder concepts. My favorite part of geometry is the proofs, really. And usually, historically, how at the very beginning, students, often very strong students, they often grumble when they start doing proofs. But usually, by not even the end of it, halfway through it, they're kind of like they really get to see them as the puzzles that they are, and they actually enjoy them quite a bit. I don't have, if you ask any of my older students who've taken my geometry course before, if they enjoyed proofs at the end, most of them kind of grudgingly admit, yeah, they're maybe a little bit tricky, but they're actually kind of fun to do. So now a bit more about math analysis. So its course in a nutshell is I really view it as two pieces. There's trig, trig, trig. That's first semester. It's all about trig and not just triangle trig, which is primarily what they've only been taught up until now. So just the sine, cosine, tangent, but the sine curves, cosine curves, and trig is a function, as well as all the many applications there are of trig equations and law of sines, law of cosines, so many things that trigonometry is embedded in so much work. So first semester is pretty much trigonometry. The rest of the course, though, I view it as let's get all ready for calculus. Let's get your algebra skills really strengthened for calculus. Let's also do, I really love the introduction to calculus unit that we have second semester that gives them an inkling about what calculus is about. So even though that is an elective, what we'll be doing in that course. So I make sure to do that with plenty of time before the end of the school year so it's not rushed when we do that. So that's actually, as I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but that's actually my favorite part of math analysis is that when we get to that introduction to calculus, there's definitely times we have the couple courses where we're doing this really long exploration of something called the area under the curve. And it's fun. Students see like, oh, well, that's where I'm going to use that. That's where I use sigma notation. That makes sense. I need to have it there. That's actually a tool I can use. And so all these skills that they've learned earlier in just a purely theoretical sense, they're really starting to apply them in that chapter and they get to see that. As I mentioned in the previous slide, I'm not sure if you've been watching the other slides as well, I'm going to be doing a flipped classroom. This will be true also when we hopefully do come back even a hybrid model, because this just works easiest for, hopefully not the back and forth that we might have, but the idea is that all of the content, the learning is going to be on recorded lessons that students can work through at their own pace, and they can revisit oftentimes. I did this in the spring as well, and I had several of my math analysis students who are now calculus students saying that they really actually appreciated that because they could watch things several times. They really like that. But now we have the added benefit of the synchronous classes where I can give some more targeted instruction of some harder concepts. We have in-class check-ins that we're going to have. We're going to have sometimes some group work. So that's where that extra benefit of that really helps solidify the flipped classroom. And then my third class, AP Calculus AB, its course in a nutshell is it's calculus. You reach the pinnacle. It's so exciting to teach this course. I've taught it for many years. I've had a lot of success teaching this course for many years. The averages on the AP test have usually been 4.4, 4.5. I mean, we've had a good success with the curriculum we've been using. So it's exciting for students to finally reach this level. I'm always excited. Every year I teach it, which is probably why I keep coming back and why I've been at ICS for so long. So it's all about calculus, the two topics, differential and integral calculus. So the slope of a tangent line and the area under the curve is the things that we'll be mainly talking about. If you have been listening to the other two lessons or slides about my other two courses, this is the same format. I will be doing a flipped classroom, which is that where I present all the lessons asynchronously. So they have a set of lessons they go through. Many have a video component attached to them, and they can revisit them, watch them several times, go at their own pace. And I did this in the spring, and actually many of the students who were in the current AP Calculus class, who were in my math analysis class at the time, I heard back from them, it's like they really actually liked it. They liked being able to re-watch a video over and over again for added help. So that part they appreciated. But now we have the benefit, we also have the synchronous classes as well. So I can do in-class check-ins. We'll be doing some group work eventually once we get it figured out how that's going to work best. And then also do some more targeted instruction of harder concepts. And I've kind of mentioned it, but my favorite part of calculus is just everything comes together. There's so many moments. This is something I am very much going to miss. That I know there's several moments in our classes where I know, okay, if I was doing this live in front of the students, I would look out and several students would go, oh my gosh, I don't believe that's where that formula comes from. Or, oh my gosh, I didn't see that that led to that. I didn't see where that was going. And all the math just kind of comes together. And yes, it's a fun course to teach. And lastly, just a little piece of the humor that I enjoy. I got this off the internet. It was not even there, said where the quote came from. So I just thought it was I love puns. So I'll do algebra, I'll do trig, and I'll even do statistics. But graphing is where I draw the line. And I find that humor quite funny. And that's the type of humor that I always enjoy. And I hope your child enjoys this year of mathematics with me remotely. We'll do the best we can, but I'm pretty optimistic that it's going to be a good year. Thank you.